Respected elders, educationists, dear teachers and dear students, welcome. First of all, it is my kind request that those who haven't subscribed our channel so far may kindly subscribe it. Respected elders, educationists, dear teachers and dear students, in this class we are going to see 4 English consonant phonemes. They are ish, ish, ich, ich. These 4 phonemes we are going to see. English consonant phonemes. Part 5. Protection of 4 consonant phonemes. Ish, ish, ich, ich with the diagrams. Video 196. Stated 16/10/2003. Protection of the 4 consonant phonemes. Ish, ish, ich, ich. These, the protection of these 4 phonemes we are going to see. First let us see the protection of the phoneme ish. Daniel Jones, definition of Daniel Jones. Ish is produced by raising the front tongue towards the hard palate and narrowing the tongue between the tip of the tongue and the back of the alveolar ridge and causing the friction there. Daniel Jones again. Ish is produced by raising the front tongue towards the hard palate and narrowing the tongue narrowing the tongue between the tip of the tongue and the alveolar ridge and causing the friction there. Here this is the definition given by Daniel Jones. Now, now see my definition. Ish is produced by raising the front tongue towards the hard palate and narrowing the tongue between the tip of the tongue and the back of the alveolar ridge and sounding. Slight modification I have done. That's all. Ish is produced by raising the front tongue towards the hard palate and narrowing the tongue between the tip of the tongue and the back of the alveolar ridge and sounding. This is my definition. And my explanation of producing this phoneme. Ish is produced by raising the front tongue towards the hard palate and narrowing the tongue between the tip of the tongue and the back of the alveolar ridge and allowing the air pushed out by the vocal cords to escape between the front tongue and the alveolar with friction. That is, when the tongue is narrowed, the obstructed air escapes between the front tongue and the alveolar with some noise. This is the explanation. See the explanation again. Ish is produced by raising the front tongue towards towards the hard palate and narrowing the tongue between the tip of the tongue and the back of the alveolar ridge and allowing the air pushed out by the vocal cords to escape between the fronton and alveolar with friction. That is, when the tongue is narrowed, the obstructed air escapes between the fronton and alveolar with some noise. Now let us see the picture. Now let us see the diagram. You see, dear students and dear teachers and educationists, see here. See, first of all, we should raise the front of the tongue. We should raise the front of the tongue towards the hard palate, and then we should narrow the tongue between the tip of the tongue and the middle of the tongue. We should narrow. We should narrow the area of the tongue. We should narrow the area of the tongue between the tip of the tongue and the middle of the tongue. This area should be narrowed, and we should allow the air pushed out by the vocal cords. We should allow the air pushed out by the vocal cord to escape through this space and come out through the mouth. This is the way how the phoneme is produced. That is, first the tip of the tongue should be raised towards hard palate, not make it to touch it, towards the hard palate. There should be some space between the hard palate and the tip of the tongue, and then we should narrow the tongue between the tip of the tongue and the middle of the tongue, and then we should allow the air pushed out by the vocal cords to escape through this space. That is the space between the tip of the tongue, between the front tongue and the front mouth. The air escaping through this space comes out through the mouth. This is the way of producing the phoneme ish. Okay? You see, the vocal cords do not vibrate when this phoneme is produced. So it is called voiceless palato-alveolar fricative. It is a voiceless. But since the vocal cords do not vibrate when this phoneme is produced. Example, ish for sheep, she, shell, shell, sh. These are the examples. This phoneme ish is not available in Tamil. Dear teachers and students, now let us see the production of the 18th phoneme is the the strong form of the weak form ish. This is the weak form ish. This is the strong form is. Now let us see the production of this strong form is. Is produced by the same ways as ish is produced, but in the production of is with the vocal cords, the vocal cords vibrate. As the vocal cords vibrate when is produced, it is called voiced palato-alveolar fricative. Again, dear students and teachers, kindly listen carefully. Is produced by the same way as is produced, but in the production of is, the vocal cords vibrate. As the vocal cords vibrate when is produced, it is called voiced palato-alveolar voiced palato-alveolar fricative. Now let us see the diagram. See, both ish and ish are produced in the same way. That is, these two phonemes are produced by raising the front tongue towards the hard palate. This is the hard palate. And sending out the ear pushed out by the vocal cords. By raising the front tongue towards the hard palate and sending out the ear pushed out by the vocal cords. The air pushed out but in this way comes through the space between the hard palate and the front tongue and escapes through the mouth. This is the way of the protection of the two palato-alveolar fricatives. Palato-alveolar affricates. This is the way of the protection of the two consonant phonemes. Palato-alveolar affricates. When ish is produced, the vocal cords do not vibrate. But when is produced, the vocal cords vibrate. You see? Look at my throat. Ish, 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 ish. Example is for a pleasure, vision, measure, treasure. These are the examples. The phoneme is not available in Tamil. Thus, respected elders, educationists, dear teachers and dear students, thus we have seen the two, palato-alveolar fricatives. Thus we have seen the two palato-alveolar fricatives which are produced by raising the front of the tongue towards the hard palate and sending out the air pushed out and sending out the air pushed out by the vocal cords through the mouth. Because why I am using through the mouth? Because all sounds in any language, all sounds are produced either through mouth or through the nose. The air pushed out by the vocal cords is sent out either through the mouth or through the nose. The phonemes produced because of allowing the air to escape through the nose are called nasals. But the sounds which are produced by sending the air throughout the mouth are having various kinds of names. Those we are saying here and there. So these two phonemes, these two phonemes are called palato-alveolar fricatives, which are produced by raising the front of the tongue towards the hard palate and sending out the air pushed out by the vocal cords through the mouth. Raising the front of the tongue towards the hard palate and narrowing the tongue between the tip and the middle of the tongue. First raising the tip of the tongue and narrowing the tongue between the tip and middle of the tongue and allowing the air pushed out by the vocal cords to escape through the mouth. That's all. Now we are going to see other two phonemes, two palato-alveolar affricates, two phonemes, palato-alveolar affricates, each and each. We are going to say how they are produced. Production of each. The name of these phoneme is each, 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 each. Definition. Daniel Jones definition. Each is produced by forming a closure between the tip of the tongue and the upper alveolar ridge, and by raising the front of the tongue towards the hot palate. When the tip of the raised tongue moves from the alveolar ridge, the air escape with friction in the palatal region. This is the definition given by Daniel Jones. Again, each is produced by forming a closure between the tip of the tongue and the upper alveolar ridge, and by raising the front of the tongue towards the hot palate. When the tip of the raised tongue moves from the alveolar ridge, the air escapes with friction in the palatal region. The air escapes with friction in the palatal region. That is, the air in the palatal region escapes through the mouth. Daniel Jones. My definition. Each is produced by forming a closure between the tip of the tongue and the upper alveolar ridge, and sounding by raising the front of the tongue towards the hot palate. This is my definition. That is, is produced by forming a closure between the tip of the tongue and the upper teeth and the upper alveolar ridge, and sounding by raising the front of the tongue towards the hot palate. It is my definition. Also see my explanation. Each is produced by forming a closure between the tip of the tongue and the upper alveolar ridge, and sounding by raising the front of the tongue towards the hot palate. When the front of the tongue is raised towards the hot palate, to send out the air pushed out by the vocal cords. When the front of the tongue is raised, when the front of the tongue, not the tip of the tongue, when the front of the tongue is raised towards the hot palate, to send out the air pushed out by the vocal cords. The raised tip of the tongue, that is the raised tip of the tongue, that is the tongue, that is the front of the tongue, that is having a contact with the upper teeth ridge. The raised tip of the tongue, that is the tip of the tongue that is having a contact with the upper teeth ridge, moves back, that is gets released, moves back, and the air in the palatal region escapes through the mouth with some noise. And now the phoneme each sounds. Now the phoneme each comes out. That is sounds. Again, it is very important. Each is produced by forming a closure between the tip of the tongue and the upper alveolar ridge, and sounding by raising the front of the tongue towards the hot palate. When the front of the tongue is raised towards the hot palate to send out the air pushed out by the vocal cords, the raised tip of the tongue, that is the tongue which is already in contact with the upper teeth ridge, moves back, that is gets released, and the air in the palatal region escapes through the mouth. But this is my explanation. Now let us see the diagram. You see, each is produced by making a contact between, tight contact between the tip of the tongue and the upper teeth ridge. Each is produced by making a tight contact between the tip of the tongue and upper teeth ridge. And then, and and then sounding, by raising the front end, by raising the, and then sounding by raising the front end, that is the front end, and then sounding by raising the front end towards the hard palate and sending out the air pushed out by the vocal cords through this space. That is, when the front of the tongue is raised and sends out the air pushed out by the vocal cords, the front tongue that is already in contact to the upper teeth ridge gets released, comes back, and the air in this region, in the palatal region, escapes through the mouth. This is the way of how the phoneme ich is produced. Example, the vocal cords do not vibrate when this phoneme is produced. So it is called voiceless palato-alveolar affricate. The vocal cords do not vibrate when this phoneme ich is produced. So it is called a voiceless palato-alveolar affricate. This word affricate, in English they are using. It is a technical name used regarding the production of some English phonemes. Ich, example for chain, chair, chalk, teacher, match. The phoneme ich, the phoneme which is similar to the Tamil phoneme ich. The phoneme ich is Tamil phoneme, the English Tamil phoneme ich, but ich is not equivalent to ich. It is because the Tamil phoneme ich is produced by raising the center of the tongue towards the roof and sounding. Tamil ich is produced by raising the center of the tongue towards the roof, towards the middle of the roof and sounding. But the English ich is produced by making a contact by the tip of the tongue with the upper teeth ridge and raising the front end towards the hard palate and sounding. So this is the difference. There is a light difference, but it is more or less on 80 to 90%. Tamil ich and English ich are similar. That we have seen here. Then now let us see. This is the way. So we will see how the phoneme, the voiceless palato-alveolar affricate is produced. Now we are going to see how the voiced palato-alveolar affricate is produced. See the 20th phoneme, consonant phoneme, 20th consonant phoneme, protection of ich. This is the name of this phoneme is ich. It is produced by the same ways as ich is produced, but in the protection of ich, the vocal cords vibrate. As the vocal cords vibrate, when it is produced, it is called voiced palato-alveolar affricate. Example, ij, job, judge, not judge, gentle, gym. Now let us see the diagram. Let's see, this is the diagram. which explains how the two palatoalveolar affricates are produced. See, these two palatoalveolar affricates are produced by making a contact between the tip of the tongue and the upper teeth ridge, and raising the front tongue towards the hard palate and making a contact, and raising the front tongue and making a contact with the hard palate. This is the hard palate. And sounding means here, and sending out the air sounding here means sending out the air pushed out by the vocal cords through this way. That is, two palatoalveolar affricates are produced by raising the tip of the tongue by making a contact between the tip of the tongue and the hard and upper teeth ridge, and then raising the front tongue and making a contact with the hard palate, and then sounding. That is, sounding means sending the ear pushed out by the vocal cords. When this front tongue sounds when the front tongue pushes the ear, the tip of the tongue, which is already in contact with upper teeth ridge, gets released. That is, comes back. Now the air pushed out by the front tongue comes out through this way. And then comes out through the mouth. Again, but these itch and edge, these two palatoalveolar affricates are produced by making a tight contact between the tip of the tongue and the upper teeth ridge, and then raising the back of the tongue, raising the front tongue towards the hard palate and making a contact, and sending out the air blocked between, and sending out the air pushed out by the vocal cords, and sending out the air plugged between the tip of the tongue and the front tongue to escape through the mouth. When the front tongue raises and makes a contact with the hard palate and pushes the tip of the tongue that is already in contact with the upper teeth ridge gets back. That is, gets released. Now the air pushed out by the front tongue, which is in the palatal region. The air in the palatal region, that is, the air in the palatal regions, comes out through the space and finally comes out through the mouth. This is the way of these two phonemes. Itch and edge are produced. Examples for itch for jaw, edge, gentle, gym. This phoneme edge is not available in Tamil. Respected elders, educationists, teachers and dear students, thus we have seen the four important phonemes, consonant phonemes used in English. They are, alveolar fricatives, palatoalveolar fricatives, and palato-alveolar affricates. There is the two phoneme ish and ish are palato-alveolar fricatives, and another two phonemes ich and ij are palato-alveolar affricates. They have named it, that's all. I have already explained it, yet I repeat it. Come to see the palato-alveolar fricatives too. That is the palato-alveolar fricatives ish and ish, they are produced. The way of their production are ish and ish are produced by raising the tip of the tongue towards the front tongue, towards the hot palate, by raising the tip of the tongue towards the hot palate, and then narrowing the tongue between the tip of the tongue and the middle of the tongue, and then narrowing the tongue between the middle and center of the tongue, and then sounding. That is, sounding means that is by raising the tip of the tongue towards the hot palate. It should not touch the hot palate. Towards, there should be some space towards the hot palate, and then narrowing the tongue between the tip of the tongue and the middle of the tongue, and then sounding. Here, sounding means sending out the air pushed out by the vocal cords. That is, sending out the air pushed out by the vocal cords. Sending out the air pushed out the vocal cords through this space, that is between the front tongue and hot palate. It is sounding. The air escapes, the pushed out air escapes through the mouth. When ish is produced, the vocal cords do not vibrate, but when is produced, the vocal cords vibrate. Again, is and is are produced by by raising the front tip of the front tongue towards the hot palate, and sending and making and narrowing the tongue between the tip of the tongue and the middle of the tongue, and sending out the air pushed out by the vocal cords. Ish, 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 ish. You see? She, shall, push, fish, ish, its, job, judge, match, each. This is the way of these two phonemes are produced. And then, now see the two palato-alveolar affricates, the two phonemes. That is these two phonemes. Each, palato-alveolar affricates. These two phonemes are produced first by making a tight contact between the tip of the tongue and upper teeth ridge. Tip of the tongue and upper teeth ridge. And then raising the front tongue and making a contact with the hot palate. Making a contact with the hot palate. And then sounding. Here and then. And then sounding, that is, and then sending out the air, already pushed out with the vocal cords, which is in the palatal region. The air pushed out with the vocal cord, which is already in the palatal region, because of raising the front end towards front end and making a contact with the hard palate. The air is in this region. Now, as this front end makes having a tight contact with the hard palate and pushes out the air, the tip of the tongue that is already in contact with the upper teeth ridge gets released, and the air in the palatal region comes out and escapes through the mouth. This is the way of these two palato-alveolar affricates are produced. Each. When each is produced, the larynx, the larynx, that is, when each is produced, the larynx does not vibrate. Each, that is, the larynx, the larynx does not vibrate. But when this phoneme each is produced, the larynx vibrates. Each. This is the way. This is the difference between these two phonemes. See, this we have seen. Out of these two phonemes, and out of these four phonemes, in one pair, ish and is, that is palato-alveolar fricatives. Ish is voiceless and is voiced. Ish for she, is for pleasure. Then the two another palato-alveolar affricates, two phonemes. Each and each. That is, of course, the larynx would vibrate, would move up and down when the voiced phoneme is produced. Each. After these two, palato-alveolar affricates, the one phoneme, each voiceless phoneme, each is more or less a Tamil phoneme, Tamil consonant phoneme, each. It is more or less similar. That's all. Thus, dear respected elders and dear teachers and educationists and dear students, thus we have seen the four important consonant phonemes, English phonemes. Of the four, one is each is similar to Tamil phoneme each, and the three phonemes are totally are not available. These three phonemes are not available in English, in Tamil. So we should be extremely careful when we pronounce that phonemes. Dear students, you must be well versed with the phonemes used in English. Then only you could speak fluently. Even though you are well versed in grammar and framing the structure, English sentence, you should be well versed in the phonemes used in English. Then only you could express fluently what you want to express. For a clear and clear and correct expressions, clear and fluent expressions of English, the 44 English phonemes are very must. So it is my kind request, both the teaching and learning community, kindly cut the total picture of the 12 vowels, 8 diphthongs and 24 consonant phonemes. So I thank all of you for watching my lessons on the 4 consonant phonemes. Till I meet you in the next class, I wish all of you very nice and sweet time. Thank you.